All right, it makes you Leo rising and sun. This Capricorn full moon on the 21st is happening in your sixth house. And that means that the sun is currently opposite the moon in your 12th house, along with Venus and Mercury. And usually, when we have the sun moving through the 12th house, we are kind of in a more introspective phase of life. The 12th house is formless in many ways, it is uncertain or unclear. And we often are having kind of endings or like a transformation happening as we are maybe questioning certain things in our life to be reborn in a new way. And when the sun emerges in your first house. And with the moon being in the sixth, this could be related to your work, to something about your responsibilities, like things that you're dedicated to within your day-to-day life, or with health, or even when in terms of like work relationships. And what's interesting is that most of my tarot cards are upright, but they were all coming out in reverse for you, every single one, which I thought was really interesting because it might kind of feel like your life is a little bit upside down. I did kind of get the feeling with the sun in the 12th of this being kind of like this moment where you're in the chrysalis, where you're being kind of broken down to be rebuilt in some sense. And so, and this is an important full moon because it marks the first moon of any, notable phase, like the new and the full moon, since the summer solstice started yesterday. So basically, I feel like this is a time in which we are kind of at a turning point for things where energy is starting to shift. And I think that you'll probably be questioning quite a bit. And with the square to Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces, this is even more heightened, where things can feel really kind of uncertain or ungrounded. And again, very kind of like formless around how things should manifest, how we should go about things. And a lot can be kind of questioned, even on existential levels. And again, I feel like the cards being in reverse may indicate a lack of momentum in some ways. It may indicate that you are needing to really do a lot of reflection right now and start to listen a little bit more to your intuition or kind of like the subtle body. So let me talk about some of these cards and then we'll get into some of the other astrology. So we have the Hanged Man upside down. We have the Emperor upside down and the Queen of Cups upside down. So the Hanged Man, when it's right side up, usually has to deal with kind of pausing because we need to change our perspective, but even right side up, it could still be about pausing. But it could be this level of indecision, where it's like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing next, especially when it comes to work with this Emperor card. The Emperor has a lot to deal with our ability to like oversee what we do, have control what we do, kind of push ourselves in a direction, maybe even lead others. And I feel like there's some uncertainty here around where am I going? What is the next step here? And with this Emperor card as well, if there are authority figures in your life, there could be some stuff going on there in your relationship with them, with this card in reverse. And yeah, Mercury is in your 12th, sextiling Mars in your 10th. So I feel like you are having to make your mind up around the actions that you want to take in your career and with maybe authority figures and kind of who's your boss, who are you working with, what direction are you headed in, is this right, I don't know. And this Queen of Cups is somebody who's kind of just going within. They're not like asking everybody else what they should do. They're really reflecting and kind of sitting alone in a room and noticing how they feel intuitively about the situation. And so I feel like your intuition is really speaking to you right now because there's, again, quite a lot of energy shifting. And with this truth card followed up by that, I feel like you guys are like sitting with yourself to find what is your truth around this situation, and how much truth maybe do I want to share with others as well, versus kind of keep it to myself. Because I think that if you are in a phase of maybe metamorphosis and in this questioning phase, maybe your decisions will affect other people, and how much you want to share with them may also be a question. But regardless, the things that you are feeling right now are true and should be validated. And I think that's super important. However, sometimes with this square to Neptune at 29 Pisces, we can also exaggerate or distort things. So even though there is a truth behind what you feel, and that there is a core to that truth, sometimes it can get manipulated and other things kind of piled on top of it. And so it's important to recognize when things get a little chaotic, because I think true intuition is a subtle kind of instinctual knowing, and it's not a worry or an anger or a fear or anxiety or any of these other things that are emotions and distortions that can kind of pack on top of the knowing and make it more chaotic or complicated. So just kind of keep that in mind, because I do feel like the decisions that you make could be affected by an irrational mind, even though there's maybe that decision ultimately is the right one for you because of your intuition. You could go about it in the wrong way or at the wrong time, or say things that you don't mean because of the way that this Neptune energy can, again, kind of distort things. Something else that's really interesting about this period of time right now is there might be some, with the sun in your 12th and Pluto in the 7th, making a quincunx, an exact quincunx, there's kind of this like fight for power within a dynamic with someone or something. And I really feel like there are ways in which you could at times feel maybe powerless, or like give away your sense of knowing or your sense of direction or your agency because of other people and their very strong influence, or their kind of like domineering energy, which is really common with the Emperor in reverse. This is somebody kind of controlling or domineering. They have this really influential, maybe even toxic energy, and it can kind of like overshadow what you know is right for you and your intuition and your instinct and your sense of direction. So I think also part of this is not to like get swept up in other people's truths, or to let people sway you because of their intense nature. That's one of the messages. Another is that Mercury is in the 12th, squaring the nodes in the 9th and the 3rd house. So whenever we have a planet squaring the nodes, we kind of have this point where we're at a fork in the road and we need to make a decision. And ultimately, I feel like you guys are wanting to move on into something new. But Mercury also tends to have this kind of childlike energy where it doesn't always realize like the difficulties of the path ahead. And I see that with the inexperienced card in reverse. It's like not always realizing what we don't know. And there's something that I feel like you are inexperienced on or naive around and may not have all the answers. But I feel like this is a time of a lot of potential with the sperm card. I think you guys are feeling the potential of something. And I think that sometimes when we don't understand like the next, like what we are dreaming about, when we don't have all of the wisdom of years of experience in along that path or in a field or in something, we can sometimes get really excited by this potential and like really amped up to the point where we kind of like make a more rash or impulsive decision, or to the point where we are not considering certain things that we need to consider. And so there just might be something here where you don't know what you don't know. and that could affect you. And so it's going to be important for you to make kind of judicious, wise decisions. This is a Capricorn full moon, which is all about planning, timing, making sure that we are patient, making sure that we know kind of what we're getting ourselves into and have a sense of security around the situation and not kind of take unnecessary risk. And so with this, you know, with the Chariot in reverse and Page of Wands in reverse, the Page of Wands is like very much like fly by the seat of my pants, follow my passions, follow my whims. I'm a free spirit. Anything is possible. But when it's in reverse next to this Chariot in reverse, I really feel like there's something here around you not having all of the answers yet or all the plan yet. And if you fall into this excitement and this energy, it can lead you down the wrong path or in the wrong direction, or you might find that you butt up against resistance or issues quite quickly. And so I feel like part of your advice here is to take calculated risks only, and to really make sure that you're doing things justice, like doing the necessary research, doing the necessary reflection, taking your time and planning and being truthful with yourself and making the right decisions around things, but not rushing into it, not getting ahead of yourself. That's really the key here, is not getting ahead of yourself, because I think it's very much possible for you to have, again, this kind of metamorphosis. And I definitely see that with the ruler of this full moon also being in the 8th house. So Saturn's in the 8th, and 8th house is all about transformation, kind of death and rebirth, going through a phase where we're challenging ourselves to overcome something and become anew. And so you guys are very much in that energy, but you don't want to rush that process and like try to be at that new place before you're ready. Psychologically, financially, security-wise, emotionally, support-wise, location-wise. It's going to depend on what this is for you, but there's something that's shifting, and you need to make sure that everything is clearly kind of outlined and all of your ducks are in a row before this happens. So that is what I'm seeing for you, Leo. I hope that resonates. If it does, I would love to hear your comments down below. Please also don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate that. A lot of you guys don't subscribe, so and still watch the content, so I'd love to see that become a little bit more even. If you want a reading from me, check me out at cosmicclarity.astrology.com, which I will link in the description box down below. And I hope you have a great day. Bye.